I am fired up.
The snap, the put down, the swing of the leg. It is on its way. It is good! Cincinnati wins the American Championship.
Here comes the quarterback, Burrow, looking for a block, and he got it up in the front by Hopkins into the end zone. Touchdown! What a skip!
As there's a drive in a deep left field by Castellanos, it will be a home run. And so that'll make it a 4-0 ball game.
Welcome back, gentlemen. What a last couple days it's been to be from the city of Cincinnati.
The city of undefeated teams.
I mean, at least at the college.
Right.
But welcome to Part and Punctuation. I am Aaron Smith, joined as always by Jeffrey Howell and the best producer in the city, Ed Mayhall. So, gentlemen, we're going to start right off with the college football playoff rankings, which came at us at 7 o'clock tonight. And number one, as expected, was Georgia. Number two, there was some movement as Ohio State jumped Alabama after destroying what I believe was an overrated Michigan State team. I don't think they were properly rated. I think they were a little overrated, but I think hindsight's obviously 2020.
Shots fired, Clay. Shots fired.
And number three was Alabama, who slipped because they've had some close games. I think they've had, I believe it's now 3 games or so that have been within that 7-point mark. And number 4 is your Cincinnati Bearcats. Did not get jumped by Michigan, and as Gary Barta said during the show, they talked about them with the cluster in the top 3. They talked about them with the cluster between 5, 6, and 7, and found them right at 4. So what was your reaction when you saw the Bearcats planted firmly in that 4 spot?
I thought it came out. I mean, I thought the rankings fell exactly how I kind of envisioned that they would after all of the kind of madness that went on, with Oregon getting jettisoned from the top 4. I thought it was only right. And obviously, we've thought some other things were only right coming in, but I thought it was only right that UC, after what they did to SMU, they didn't struggle with SMU. It would have been even worse for SMU had Luke just left all his guys in. I mean, I believe it was like the last series in the third quarter started the rotation of getting the starters out, which is something you got to do. You got to keep those guys from getting some silly injury somewhere. I mean, you keep them fresh, get some guys some experience in a game, and UC was rightfully rewarded as moving into the number 4 spot, the highest ranking for a group of 5 team, if we can still use that phrase. I like where they're at. I think Ohio State jumped Alabama, rightfully so. I mean, Alabama's got their loss to, at the time, an unranked Texas A&M, and they've had, I mean, with the exception of FCS 1-8 New Mexico State, they have had some tight games recently. Is what it is. Georgia is clearly far and away the best. I think Ohio State has looked like they've put some things together. They did take advantage of Michigan State's 130th ranked pass defense with what is probably one of the best groups of wide receivers in college football. So I think that kind of turned out the way that everyone that looked at it objectively thought that it probably would.
Yeah, I would agree.
Wasn't it SMU last year that got all pissy because we ran the score up on them?
I thought it was, and I brought that up when we were in the press box with Brent, and Brent said that he thought it was. I want to say he said it was ECU that was upset about that.
I would have loved it if it was SMU.
I thought it was Sonny Dykes myself, though.
I think I have it saved on my phone. Hold on, I'll check.
I mean, it would make sense that it was, seeing as he left his starters in to go against the UC freshmen, and they still didn't even really pad their stats. So,
Merck in the chat is saying it was ECU, so you don't have to look it up. But
Thanks, Mark.
So I don't know. I mean, I was very happy to see them moving up to that 4 spot. Obviously, I mean, if you watch the show tonight, they were already talking about Oklahoma State. If they win out, basically Reese Davis was kind of alluding to how much separation is there between Cincinnati and, the Big 12 essentially. And Gary tried to sidestep that question about 3 different ways. Reese, if he was in a court of law, I think he would have gotten in trouble for badgering the witness, and almost actually felt bad for Gary Barta for a second. And then I realized that I hate Gary Barta and I don't feel bad for him at all. Like, you did this to yourself, sir. But at the end of the day, happy to see Cincinnati there. And essentially, I mean, they were talking out of both sides of their mouth as the hosts, which they kind of have to do because, again, it's, as Chad likes to say, it's a TV show. But you kind of have to give them their credit. And if they win out, I don't know how you can leave them out. And then old David Pollock tried he tried to hit him with the okey doke, and he was saying, thanks, Ed. He was saying that essentially if Alabama beats Georgia, Ohio State wins out, and you have Oklahoma State winning out, how do you not put in a Big 12 champion, as if the Big 12 has been something to really write home about this year? I don't know, man. You have a team that won every game. You have a team that won every game and has, I mean, not just 1 or 2, but a mess of seniors. Luke mentioned on the show tonight, 30 plus seniors. And you have a lot of guys that are projected to be drafted into the NFL after this season. So it's not like this is just kind of a Cinderella team where, they're just really wishing, hoping, praying to get in. Like, no, they did the thing. They were undefeated regular season last year, much the same way that UCF, who I still believe was snubbed in what was that, 2017, I believe, 2017, 2018, something like that.
I don't know. When was their national championship?
But I think that Houston was snubbed a little bit, as they're still sitting there at 24.
Well, I mean, you've got to look at that. I mean, you got Clemson. Okay, so Clemson beats like a reeling Wake Forest team. And they are playing better than they did at the beginning of the year, but still, like, they jump all the way up, and jump Houston. I mean, it's been like pulling teeth trying to get Houston ranked.
Who hasn't lost since week 1, by the way. Right.
And I think they gave up like a 20-point lead or 21-point lead in that first game of the year. Lost to Texas Tech. Okay, like, that's really not a good loss.
At home.
Right. So, but then they reel off 10 wins. And if you're talking about all these other teams who are looking better and they're performing at a different level now, you got to look at a Houston team that is playing good football. And to keep them all the way down at, to barely allow them into the top 25 is criminal. I mean, I think in the AP poll, I think they're like 18th.
You can only talk about teams that are performing well now when it fits the narrative and when it makes sense for the point that you're trying to prove. When you're pushing a team that has lost early on, like, I don't know, an Alabama, or I don't know, an Ohio State.
Yeah, but Alabama lost to number 15, Texas A&M.
Well, they weren't 15 at the time. They were unranked at the time.
Correct.
But A&M's got what, like 3 losses now, and all the way to 15.
I don't know. I think they were 4-2 when they beat Alabama. I don't know what they are now.
I don't know. It's kind of, I mean, I've written about it on Bearcat Journal. I've talked about it here. I've talked about it on the BBP. Essentially, it comes down to the fact that there's plenty of teams that get propped because it is what needs to happen for what the agenda that they want to push. So I don't think today's any different. Especially when you see they're already making excuses for the drama that is the CFP rankings on ESPN.
I thought it was absolutely ridiculous. Like, you had Herb Street himself in the because Luke Fickle came on the CFP, told them he didn't watch their show, but then came on, and I believe that he doesn't watch it, but Herb Street's like, oh, how do you get your players to kind of keep all the nonsense of experts telling them that they can't just win, they have to win with style. So he called himself out for spewing nonsense about these style points that we all hate. UC certainly put up style points. I mean, when you're running plays to have a wide receiver throw a touchdown pass to your quarterback.
Well, and Merck put in the chat they got upset because of the fake punt.
Okay, so that was ECU last year.
Oh, that was ECU. Well, yeah. I mean, I can imagine SMU was probably upset about the fake kickoff. If SMU wanted to be upset about the game on Saturday.
Yeah, that pass to Dez in the end zone was amazing. I laughed so hard, and I felt so great for Dez after that.
First time that's ever happened in Cincinnati's history.
What did Jim Kelly call? He called it the chili special.
The chili special
instead of the Philly special.
Yep.
But
that was the first time that a quarterback or a player had received, passed, and thrown. Or I'm sorry, thrown, received, and rushed. A touchdown all in the same game. So kudos to Dez. Dez said in the presser afterwards they've had that play drawn up for 4 or 5 years and never ran it. So he's been ready for it.
Luke mentioned in the presser afterwards that had he known about it, he doesn't know that he would have allowed that to slide into the script for the game. But,
I mean, I do want to point out, and we didn't point this out last night. But Mike Denbrock, for all the shit that he gets from fans saying that he calls a vanilla game, doesn't make adjustments, all of that, he stuck to his guns all season long. And in this game, it paid off. He ran some plays that maybe he wouldn't have necessarily. But he kept grinding. You had 20 rushes by Jerome Ford for 80 yards. Dez had a hell of a game. It's just, I just want to point out the fact that for all the flack that Denbrock gets, this team is still undefeated, and they blew the brakes off of an SMU team that was 8-2 going into this game.
I mean, what's more impressive? Yeah, it's nice for our offense to click and kind of throw some wrinkles in there. Nice to see Jerome Ford back. I know there was a lot of questions last week. We had some questions about if we thought he was going to be ready to go.
Brian Cook too,
right? But this defense. Really, I mean, you're going up against a team that was averaging something like 500 yards and 42 points a game.
The number 7 passer in the country going into this game.
And we've said it pretty much all year that if they go up against a team that isn't going to try and do some silly gimmicky stuff or hold on to the ball for the majority of the game and just kind of dink around with it and hope that they can last till the end. That we would see the UC team that's putting up style points or dominating another team, and they did. They went out there and made. I mean, I think there was like the first 8 possessions for SMU were 3 and outs minus the one that ended in a fumble.
Yeah,
I think I'm pretty sure that's correct there.
Mm-hmm.
So. You'd like to see this continue to roll into next week against ECU. I mean, ECU, I think it's 7-4. Hopefully, we're not running into a team that's just trying to do some goofy stuff and they try to play us kind of straight up. And if they do, I think we're going to end up with hopefully the same result. A 3:30 Friday game, kind of weird, but
the day after Thanksgiving at that. Merck asks how much you credit. I'm assuming he means SMU not having one of their top receivers, because Cincinnati was out a receiver as well, and Michael Young, who played the first play of the game for senior day and then did not play again. I'm assuming that was because he just was a little dinged up. But no, of course. I mean, when you have one of SMU was down one of their best receivers, regardless, you play the guys you play. And, it was unfortunate for SMU that they weren't, all hands on deck, but that's unfortunately just the way that things go sometimes. We weren't sure. We weren't sure if we were going to last week we didn't have Jerome Ford, so we didn't know if he was going to be playing. I assume he's probably not at 100%, but he was out there. Same with Brian Cook. I mean, you saw
situational.
Situations are situational.
Thanks for that, Ed.
Welcome.
But it's just kind of a situation where you play the guys you have, and that's the way it went for SMU. But you still got to figure Tanner Mordecai for SMU as the number 7 passer in the league has been able to just fling the ball around to more than just his top receiver. So it's still just a testament to how well this defense was playing. They were flying around everywhere. And, I just couldn't have been happier with the way that the game really went.
And then special teams. We would be remiss not to mention the special teams play.
Well, you had both a field goal block by Arquan Bush and a punt block by Will Huber. So
with his eyes closed.
What a picture that was, man.
Yeah. They said it on the broadcast and it made me kind of laugh, but then when I see that picture, it fit even better. But they were like, they made mention that he got skinny to get through the line, and if you look at the picture, he's turned completely sideways, and it looks like he did in fact get skinny to get through there, got his arm up and got a hand on it, and kind of started the downhill slide for SMU.
Well, and I wonder, with the eyes closed, I wonder if that's when the ball hits his hand, if it's kind of one of those reactions, right?
Yeah.
Like a flinch, because you just got hit with a ball that's probably going at a pretty good velocity at that point in time, just coming off the foot of the kicker. But in any case, hell of a win on senior day. It was good to see Jordan Jones get in there and get his first touchdown as a Bearcat passing. It was a passing touchdown. I'm sure when he, made the transfer from Arkansas to Cincinnati, he did not think that his first touchdown for Cincinnati was going to be a passing touchdown. But then he followed it up with the touchdown reception from Evan Prater later in the game.
Yeah. I thought it was nice that we got a little extended Prater time. I know I sent you guys a text message right around the end of the third quarter. They showed him kind of warming up over there, and then I don't know who tweeted out that, because obviously I wasn't at the game, I couldn't see that Dez had put on the ball cap, and so it kind of seemed like they were gonna move into the backups, which they did.
He had no idea when he came off the field that he was being taken out at that point after that drive.
That was over.
Where he caught the touchdown. And I know some people were asking him, and even in the presser, I think it was ESPN, and I think they even may have mentioned it on certain TV shows, that was going to be the last thing he did in Nippert. And I'm like, hold up, pump the brakes. There is still a conference championship to be played,
and it's not at a neutral site.
So long as they get business taken care of in East Carolina here, I don't think I think that's the only way that Houston ends up hosting that game.
Correct. So, well, as long I guess if Houston wins and UC loses, I think if they both lose, then it's still it.
I do want to point out though that the Bearcats against Arkansas game has tipped off, and your starting 5 are David DeJulius, Micah Adams Woods.
Looks like John Newman.
It's the same starting 5 that it's been all season thus far.
Adu
is in there at center, and you also have Jeremiah Davenport at the 4. So we are underway.
This could be an interesting game. Arkansas doesn't really have like a lot of bigs. I watched kind of the end of the game last night, so maybe I missed some of their guys.
And let's talk about that game before we get into what's going on here in Arkansas. But what did you think while you were watching that game when all of a sudden it's 23-8 and Cincinnati is down 15? I don't know if you're allowed to show that or not, are we? Yeah, I think we're allowed to show this.
Yeah, I think we're allowed to show the game cast.
I think you're right. Just
we can show. I think we can show the game cast, but
so what were
if it doesn't look great, we'll remove it.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh well.
So what were your thoughts last night as you're watching Illinois? And again, like I said, 23-8, down 15. Because my honest reaction was, all right, let's just hope nobody gets injured. And some of those thoughts from the last couple seasons, where let's pack it in, get out of here without any injuries.
I think there was some discussion in our group text that a 15-point deficit that happened yesterday recently would have likely turned to 40 very quickly.
Oh, you mean like Houston?
Just being overmatched and not really having any adjustments made. The one thing that's really stood out to me with Wes Miller and this team early on in the season, at least, because there's been a couple times where they've had some rough starts.
Sure.
He doesn't wait till the media timeout. He doesn't wait. I mean, if he needs a timeout, he's going to use it, and they're productive timeouts. At least thus far, he gets the guys together. They kind of work through whatever issue is going on, and they're able to kind of turn it around. And that we saw that happen last night. I mean, I'd be lying if I said that whenever they went down by that much, I was just kind of like, well, this is a really good team with a guy like Kofi Coburn that is a dominant, very large man.
You mean Kofi Cockburn? That guy's last name is Cockburn, right? There's no English word that ever started with cock and sounded like co. Okay? Never an English word that sounded like that.
Thanks, Ed. But when they call a timeout, you got Mikey Saunders, who looks like he's checked into the game again tonight. He did a lot of the things yesterday that we talked about last week. He gets downhill real quick. He was kind of causing some mayhem for their guys in the lane. Well, and he was making shots.
The key last night, especially with Kofi down low, was Mikey. And I think the reason he was pushing it the way he was they were having trouble when Kofi was down low. But if he was accelerating past Kofi on his way to the rack,
yeah, that's not the guy you want.
Kofi wasn't able to get set up, and he wasn't able to, be the disruption down low that they were trying to avoid.
Yeah, no, I mean I'm sorry, I was just watching a really great play by Jeremiah Davenport on a fast break there. To begin the game, you look at it. Kofi had 12 points in the first 9 minutes. I think he was beating UC by himself. I think it was a 12-8 Kofi v UC, and he was able to kind of change I mean Wes Miller was kind of able to get the guys settled back in. They played a lot of very good help defense. There were guys that were able to kind of get the backside there. Kofi wasn't able to get comfortable. He scored 6 points for the remainder of the game.
Well, and let's talk about that adjustment for a minute, because we covered this last night as well in the BBP, but I want to talk about the fact that I don't know that, I mean, we certainly didn't see an adjustment in game like that at all with the last regime.
No.
And Mick even, I think, a lot of times struggled making any kind of in-game adjustments.
I think he would make them at halftime.
Yeah.
And I think he was an excellent game planner. And I think he just hoped that whatever the ebb and flow of the game was, that the defense that he had set up with the guys that he had brought in, the schemes they had worked on going into the game and talked about with the game plan would prevail until they got to halftime where they could reset and adjust. And I think last night you saw an immediate adjustment when they were struggling with Kofi. As you said, he only ended up with 6 points the rest of the game. I've never seen, I just don't recall seeing an in-game adjustment like that by Cincinnati Bearcats ever. Not
an
like
in-game
that.
adjustment that resulted in, so that adjustment there totally threw off Illinois.
Everything.
They obviously they've played the first 3 games of the year without Kofi. This is his first game back after a suspension that was whatever. It was he pulled the trigger on NIL stuff about a week early or something. Hey, whatever. So yeah, they play the first 3 games without him. They were 2-1. They lost I think it was a pretty close game to Marquette.
Mm-hmm.
And they came in. I did see some Illinois fans after the game talking about how they were giving some respect to UC and saying you got guys that went out there playing hard, playing with some grit, and their guys they thought if they rolled the ball out there that they could just win the game. Go ahead.
They held Illinois to 3 of 22 from the arc, which was super impressive. Chad brought up last night a stat that I didn't have in front of me, but Illinois had 0 fast break points. 0
points in transition. I looked those up because I know Chad likes that stuff.
He does. But that's wild. That's absolutely wild. And I think that's a testament to the type of lockdown defense that I don't know that any of us were prepared to see this early anyway.
No,
you mean locked-in defense?
Locked in defense. Oh, Ed. No, I just can't say enough good stuff. I know we talked about it at the very beginning of the season before they played a game that none of us had really been this excited about a team with no expectations, really. And they're coming in, they're playing good basketball. You knock off an Illinois team that some people are saying could be good enough by the end of the year to win a national championship. They've got a guy that they could ride to the national championship. That dude's really good.
You talking about Kofi?
Yeah.
He scored tonight against whoever they played. I think he scored 20 tonight.
Kansas State. He was projected to be a first-round pick last year, and he came back. No one expected him to come back, but he came back.
He takes up a lot of space down there. He weighs 275 pounds.
He's expected to be a top 5, top 10 pick, certainly a lottery pick. And yeah, he's going to be a dude, and he's just big. He's ready. There's no doubt about it. He's ready for the league. And Cincinnati held their own against him.
The Bearcats have kind of, they've come out. They're showing that they don't really care who you are or what name is on your jersey. They really don't care about how much they get down by. I don't like to live. I would hope that they don't continue to live that way.
You can't expect to win every game getting down by that kind of a deficit and then go on a run where, again, a team misses 3 of 22 is horrendous from the arc. Absolutely horrendous. And that's not going to be a thing that they run into often at all. They also hit very well from the line. And that's something
83% or something like that.
That's something that we're not accustomed to.
But that's I think that's 3 games in a row with we talked about that last week, needing to have that kind of performance from the line on a consistent basis. And when you got a guy like Mikey Saunders who is going to push things into the lane and draw fouls.
That's a trash call.
I assume it's the one that just happened a second ago that I wasn't watching. But the good thing with UC is they can keep rotating guys in, fresh legs. They don't really have a lot of drop off as far as talent goes across the floor when they do that.
So I'd like to ask you guys some questions that I ask on the BBP as well, just to kind of get some different perspective on it. But one of the things that we talked about last night was how deep this team is. And I know going into the beginning of the season, even here, I think we talked about how you try and trim this down to where you're getting maybe an 8-man rotation. And I don't think this team is going to be – this team's not built for that. The drop-off is not significant enough to where you need a guy to play – your 30, 35, nice blocking.
Is that a new one?
No, somebody else gave me that last week. But no, it's this team's not built for an 8-man rotation. They got too many guys that are too close as far as the skill sets. Nobody really is standing out as a guy that you need to play 30, 35 minutes. So,
yeah.
Are you excited about how deep this team is? That there's just, kind of what you were talking about just a minute ago, Jeff, fresh legs, and those fresh legs aren't just, in the middle of the game, but something that's going to make a difference in a run at the end of the season as well.
We talked about it last week with Chad, that they don't have to just throw a guy out there to give somebody, a breather, right? They've got guys that can play, that kind of stretch from, maybe the 1 and the 2 and then the 3 and the 4, some guys that stretch from the 4 and the 5. They can move guys in and out of different positions and still get the same production level, still get the same, push and movement. And if somebody's having an off night, okay, you move them. Maybe they get less minutes tonight and somebody else gets a few more. I don't know what Wes is saying to this official because I don't have the sound, but he's very very aggressive. It's a good team. It's a good thing to have. It's a lot of fun. I don't think there's anything better than that. I mean, do you really need an all-star, one guy to carry you? Because if he's having an off night and the rest of your guys are kind of scrubbing along, hoping that one dude can carry you.
Well, I feel like we had that with Jaren's final year,
right? And
it wasn't fun.
No, and maybe I'm just saying that because right now it is a lot of fun to watch them just mix and match and not really care who
Try not to be. You're trying not to be caught up in the moment, caught up in recency bias and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but when you look over. When the ball's going up down the court, you look over and there's three fresh guys sitting there waiting to check in, and you're like, all right, I know him and him and him. It's not just some random dude that he's trying to slide out there to give Davenport a break.
And I gave you kudos last night on the BBP saying that these were the hockey. Where
I guess not. I didn't listen to the BBP yet, and I told you why, because I feel like when I listen to the BBP, sometimes it might sound like I'm saying the same things. So I'd like to go through here and then I'll go back and listen.
But I did give you kudos saying that it was like the hockey line changes where you're just bringing in, sometimes 4 or 5 guys. We've seen him we've seen him do that too. So
the Julius.
It's pretty wild. I think you're a little bit ahead of me.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. No, it's all right. I don't mind. I said last night that this is going to be a train wreck because I feel like we're probably all 3 at different places in the game.
Lock-in is going to be so. I mean, he's already like showing like a lot of the.
Okay, so that brings me up to the next question I asked last night, and I want
to answer your question real quick.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
So when Adu had 2 fouls within the first 5 minutes of the game, like that's the depth that we've seen this year. I didn't freak out too much because I actually tweeted, let's go ahead and put Lockton on Cockburn and see what he can do. And a dude,
his name is Coburn.
It's
Kofi Coburn.
And he came out, and then I think they put in Aguama, right? And then Aguama got like 2 quick fouls, and then Lockton came in. So I didn't stress out about the foul thing at all because in the past we've only had like 1 or 2 big guys. They get foul trouble early, then we're kind of screwed down inside. But yeah, that depth, that kept me from freaking out a little bit when we were down 15.
Well, and Odie got in trouble, a little bit of foul trouble early as well. And again, you still didn't have to worry too much about, the bigs, because you have Davenport who can play the 4. You have Locken who can play the 4. You have Odie who can play the 4 or the 5. You have Adu who plays the 5. You have Koval who plays the 5. So yeah, to your point, we are deep at big for the first time, and it feels like maybe my entire life. I don't know when was the last time that we were this deep at big.
I can't remember any time.
That's what I'm saying. Like, when you have a big, you usually only have like one good big, and you're just hoping for the best.
And then you have a guy who can come in and just keep control of the game so that the other guy can get a breath,
spell some minutes. Sure. Yep. So it's a completely different mindset to be watching these games. But Ed, I want to ask you first this question. We talk about the hype man, who that's a long time since Kenyon, Little, Tate, and Fletcher, Merck. But thank you for that. I mean, that's a long ass time. That's
he brings up a good point. When you asked the question, I started thinking in my head, like, yeah, maybe back in the Kenyon days, but that was 99, 2000.
That's 20 years ago. Yeah. So Ed, I want to ask you this question though. We have talked about the hype man for this team, and we've talked about how last year it was absolutely Jeremiah Davenport, and this year we've seen both Davenport again, and we've also seen Locken. So do you think anybody's pulling away as the bigger energy guy, the bigger hype man from what you've seen?
Man, like we said in the group text last night, I felt like they were doing. It was a great battle last night for the hype man. Mm-hmm. I mean, Davenport started out slow. He wasn't shooting very well at the beginning. Lockton came in and started hyping people up, and that's when Davenport started hyping up. Thank God he didn't yell toward the bench with those trash calls. But they battled it out last night. I mean, if I had to put one up on top right now, I would have to say maybe Lockton's number one, and that's only because once he got hyped, that's when Davenport got hyped. So maybe the two playing off each other.
Well,
I'm getting Locken right now.
And Jeff, how did you feel about how that went?
I mean, I think there might be a third contender.
Go on.
Mike Saunders.
Mikey Saunders is that well? He did get that.
So
those are bullshit technical too.
Okay, those taunting technicals both ways were ridiculous.
Absolutely. I said that in the group text last night as well. There are receipts, but
absolutely.
The finger. I'm here for the finger wag. Like, you can Matumbo all you want. Like, if you don't want someone, if you don't want somebody to talk shit, stop them.
Exactly. My thing with it was, okay, UC was down 15 points. They were literally. I mean, they were just getting beaten down. There's no other way to describe it. They were getting absolutely demolished.
And I want to interject here real quick. There are 11 and a half minutes left. It is currently Cincinnati 9, Arkansas 12. So that's where we are right now at this point in the game as we're watching.
Julius with a high 7 points, Locken with 3 rebounds.
Oh, no. Okay.
Right.
But now I'm a little bit sidetracked on what I was talking about.
You're bringing up Mikey.
Okay. So, and then the technicals, right? So you've got the fact that UC was down 15. They're coming back. Mikey was a big part of that. Obviously, he ended up with I think 20 points last night. Big free throws. But the technical, he nailed. I think it was his only 3. He was 1 for 1 from 3 points last night. He hits his 3 and he gets hyped up about it, and they stopped the momentum of the UC surge there for a second by hitting him with a technical. I mean,
and it's stupid, not just in basketball, also in football. Like the little point that Clyde Edwards-Helaire did in the Kansas City game on Sunday night, that was stupid. It was just a little point, and he got 15 yards for that as he was crossing into the end zone. I mean,
and then the kid from
dumb. This is dumb. Like, you should be able. I don't know. I'm old school where you guys grew up on the courts like during recess and
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
in
but
the
any
parks
sport
and stuff.
I mean,
Like, you talk shit. That's what you do.
it's
Hey,
part of the it's part of sports though.
To a guy on the court once, like it's what. Yeah.
I mean, nobody's like shoving somebody down or like
Right.
punching anybody, anything like that. And I guess they're saying like, oh well, if you keep
lead to
talking,
that.
if you keep talking smack, like somebody could. Wow, it's dumb. It doesn't.
They're not rebounding very well tonight.
No, it's been sloppy so far. To be honest,
This
across
is
both ways.
I think we could blame this on one JP McCura. Like I think he's the reason why we have all these stupid rules.
I don't think that's it.
I mean, I guess I'm here for it.
I'm gonna check Wikipedia.
Ed has like a full on like personal grudge against JP McCura.
I mean,
I don't like that guy. But let's talk about this for a second though. After last night's game, because we have next week, right? We have the Crosstown Shootout. Is it next Saturday or something like that? It's the first week in December, I'm pretty sure.
Coming up quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not worried about it now. Like, I was worried about getting blown out or, it's Wes Miller's first year. By the way, I did say that if we do beat Xavier in the Crosstown Shootout this year, I will do my first shotgunning of a beer.
Ever?
Let's make that happen.
Yeah, he said he's never done that before. So
maybe we'll teach you how to gamble too, Ed.
Oh, that'd be great. I appreciate that.
We're gonna make him shotgun beers and then gamble like that. Ed's gonna be joining us from his cardboard box.
Like, well,
I'll be living in the shed.
My wife found out about all my delinquent habits all of a sudden.
Oh, she'll find out very quickly because she checks my account very, very often. But like we beat the number. Oh, damn! Mikey just got laid out. We beat the number 14 team in the country last night, handedly. Thank you to the adjustments, but I'm not afraid of Xavier this year. Like I know it's at Xavier, so that's going to
Xavier's credit. They did just beat Ohio State.
It's only at Xavier because of the bullshit they pulled during the pandemic. By the way,
yeah, they're scared, but. I'm not scared of that game. I'm actually pretty hyped for that game.
Yeah,
I might talk trash.
Ed, there's no way you don't talk trash. Just putting it out there.
Just make it be noted that when Aaron and I went to our very first Crosstown Shootout game, it was Aaron who was getting us in, battles
altercation
with the Xavier fans.
An altercation.
Not me. I broke it up and told him.
Why were they in the aisle?
What? That's a very solid point. They were in the aisle. They were there. Yep.
Go sit down with the Xavier people up top. You don't need to be down in the aisle, down by me. Like they're just standing on the stairs next to where we were. Go back up with your people. Clowns.
They saw me. They're like, "Oh, that guy's boxing on our campus. We should probably go talk shit to him."
And bringing up some more stuff that we kind of talked about. Obviously, we were texting back and forth during the game last night. The like thought process of the announcers from tip off through I don't know, towards like probably midway through the second half before it seemed like they started to give.
They made an exception at the 45-second mark in the first half when they finally recognized, oh, Cincinnati is on a little bit of a run here.
They just noticed.
I mean, it took Illinois scored like 4 points in the first, half of the second half.
Yeah.
From the time UC called that timeout when they were down 23-8, they went on a 63-28 run.
I made note of it. Are you talking about the second half?
I'm just talking about in general.
I made note of the
monster run.
Yeah, I may notice in the second half that 13 minutes into the second half, we had only allowed 7 points. 13 minutes into the second half, we only allowed 7 points.
It was silly.
Did they just... Oh, come on.
What happened?
You'll see in a second.
I was also behind. They got 2 people diving for a loose ball.
Speaking of diving for a loose ball, how about Locken last night basically tackling a guy for a loose ball? I'm here for that.
That's
I'm here
what
for the
just happened, actually.
What?
That's
Oh,
what
just happened. There it is. I was here for that. Like he was on top of that man.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously UC kind of comes into this season a little bit as like a wild card, unknown kind of team. I mean, I think really, honestly, like unless they lose by 30 or 40 points tonight, that they should start getting some looks as a team that could be a little bit of trouble come March.
I mean, I'm here for it. I watched the Houston game tonight against Wisconsin because I wanted to see Vogt play Wisconsin or play Houston again, and Houston did not look good. And of course, Houston was our biggest competition last year. So,
well, Houston and Memphis are the two teams ranked in the conference. So that'll
Did
be
Vogt play?
Yeah, Vogt. In the 10 minutes that I watched, I think Vogt got 2 fouls and one nice pass underneath, and then I think he sat.
I'm just glad Wes wasn't forced to wear a suit jacket that he would immediately take off. For the,
Talking about this polo tonight, last night's polo and tonight's polo, they're both fire. And I need to know how many of my kids I have to sell to be able to afford one of them.
I think they're $90 a piece, Ed. I saw them when I was down there before a football game one day. Yeah.
It's Under Armour?
Yeah,
it's
they're
probably
Under Armour.
Yeah.
So it's probably not going to fit me at all. So but like, why $90?
I don't know.
Because that's what happens when you buy moisture wicking name brand with another brand.
It's probably the same moisture wicking, cotton or whatever that is that Kohl's uses in their Kohl's brand.
That ain't it.
It's proprietary Under Armour moisture wicking material, Ed.
Kohl's Nike and Kohl's Under Armour is a little bit different material than actual like Under Armour and
anyways, fuck Kohl's because they wouldn't have anyway. So fuck Kohl's. I tried to buy the ugliest pair of Champion shoes tonight that I would have rocked. They would have looked great, but they were the ugliest pair. And I was only trying to buy them because they were $45. This cheapest pair of shoes they had there. I'm like, Champion, okay. And I had a 15% off coupon. I go up to the front. She rings them up, and I was like, "Yep, I got this 15% off coupon." She goes, "That doesn't work. This is athletic wear." I was like, "Well, it's Champion. I'm not 100% sure it's athletic wear." And she's like, "Watch." And she scanned it. It didn't work. And she just looked at me. She goes, "See?" And I'm like, "Okay." So I paid for it, and I got up to the door, and I said, "Nah, you're not gonna play me like that." I turned around, walked right back to the register. I said, "I'm gonna return these." She made me go to the back to return it, but I did return them.
You bought and returned them?
Can we talk about Champion for a minute, though? Do you remember when you got made fun of for wearing Champion?
Yes, all the time. And now you walk into Kohl's and everything there is Champion, and it's $50 for a sweater.
I don't know what happened with Champion's rebrand, but when did it become hip and trendy for Champion? And like,
well, the 90s are coming back. The 90s are coming back, and so like if Bugle Boy came back right now, Bugle Boy was pretty cheap back in the day. If Bugle Boy came back right now, it'd be $90 as well.
Oshkosh Bagosh.
Oshkosh, all those, Fila.
What were those? What were the shoes that were always like on like Nickelodeon that it was
BK
like,
British Knights.
Yes, the BK Knights.
I want to buy an old pair of Airwalks. I'm sure I could find a pair somewhere, but.
Ooh.
Look, I'm here for the 90s coming back if that means that we get to wear t-shirts that are a little looser on our dad bods and baggy, can I get baggy shorts to come back for the love of God, especially
and not the short ones that go above the knee. I'm not here for that one.
Are you talking about like the ones from like the who's the St. Bonaventure player that always gets tweeted out with his with his shorts that go all the way down like his ankles?
Speaking of dad bod, I'm drinking a frosted pumpkin pie from Saunders tonight.
Oh my god,
it's decent.
Somebody mute Ed for a couple minutes.
I just am mad that he didn't play the imaging for what's in Ed's fridge.
Oh, you mean play the music? That's on me.
All right, there we go. I just like the fire that this team plays with. Like, it's just relentless.
It is. So currently it's 7 minutes, 14 seconds left. And it's 16s.
Like they just don't let up. They don't give, like, there's really no break for the other team. I thought a lot of that, came into play last night against Illinois. Like, they not only did Illinois from some of the just so fast. If you look, there was a time at, whoa, I don't know what that was all about. There was a time at the I don't know if they were quite up 23-8 yet. It might have been the 23-8 timeout where the camera zoomed in on Kofi, and he was, making a kind of this look of, this is easy, we've got this in the bag kind of look. And from that, there's Kelsey.
Aaron's gone.
No, we lost.
Yeah, Justin Williams did tweet out about 10 minutes ago that Travis Kelsey is in the arena.
There's Aaron.
I hit the wrong button. I didn't mean to hit that. I was trying to switch to the private chat and I hit log in.
No. Oh yeah. So you got Travis Kelsey's in attendance again. Now he's in the front row.
I remember that hat. That hat was fantastic.
Dude, somebody brought that up. It might have been Ed. Like, where can I get all these like throwback hats that
You're not. They're from the 90s.
Well, like, you can. There are a couple pages that I follow on Instagram, and I'll tweet them out later. They go to thrift stores and find these fire hats, clean them up, and then sell them. I have missed out on a couple that I really wanted just by like 5 minutes, and I'm sure they're selling them for a pretty penny too. I'm sure that hat, like right there, is probably $60 or something like that.
Was that Newman who hit that three?
Yes.
Sorry.
Can we talk about?
I was super grainy.
Was that Newman with the block last night? The chase down block on the backboard?
Yes. That was a huge block.
Which was also another turning point in the game, I believe.
I will say, I don't know who, somebody laid one up in the air, like real kind of soft, and Kofi swatted it, and it sounded like a gunshot, but it wasn't an impressive, like he jumped up through the roof to block somebody. He just swatted a floating ball. But then the Newman chase down block. Oh, I don't know who the kid was for Hawkins, maybe was going up to lay one in, and it got swatted off the backboard. And that's probably like my favorite kind of block.
The like LeBron James against Golden State, like behind
like
block.
When somebody is so confident they feel like they can just like roll one in off the glass, and it gets swatted against the glass and then just like launches back out.
Let's go.
That's a big boy block and a hustle block. Like there's so many things about this team that I watch and I like.
They don't stop.
It gets brought up a lot in the post game press conferences, and I don't know if Wes will ever get tired of discussing what he's trying to do here and what this team is trying to do, which is build a kind of a defensive minded team that Chad also mentioned it last week, that threads the needle of the new age offense with kind of an old school defensive mindset.
Hey, just real quick, I don't mean to interrupt you, but
No,
Victor Lockton is going back into the locker room for further evaluation. Looks like he may have got hit in the head or the eye. This information from Justin Williams on Twitter.
Solid. Why'd you say Twitter like that?
I just thought it sounded good. I won't say Twitter like that anymore.
It sounded all right, Ed.
Right in the trash.
Maybe give it another try, and we'll not right now, but maybe the next time you have a Twitter update.
Oh yeah, I'll do that. I'll say Twitter in a different fashion.
This might be one of my more favorite podcast styles we've done. I hope everybody else enjoys it.
I don't think we've ever done a live watch, so I'm a little. What's our numbers been looking like in the YouTubes?
Well, we were at like 7 before the game started, and now we're at like 3.
Yeah, it's what it is.
All right.
People will find out about this at halftime.
Maybe.
Somebody will start tweeting. Boston, you out there? Start tweeting about us.
Did you put it on Twitter that we were live?
Yes.
All right.
So,
And Facebook.
Well,
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
I wonder how many people are down at Holy Grail too.
Yeah, I mean that's the other thing.
Do you think we get Chad to check in live from Holy Grail at halftime? Oh, we dropped down to 2. Sorry.
So maybe halftime coming up here. We can kind of maybe talk about the game here a little bit. We've kind of been doing that live. We get maybe our little Bengals update in. There's nothing with the Reds going on. I can tell you that.
No, not at all.
And whatever. That's what it is.
I think the only Reds update is apparently they Sonny Gray is still on the trade block, but Luis Castillo
Is now
no
not.
longer. Right.
That was a nice put in.
There was another player that was no longer on the trade block as well. Another pitcher. Maybe Malley, maybe.
Yeah. Whatever. Good.
Pretty
Way to knock out the Reds talk during
That's
this
how much I cared.
timeout.
There we go. We did it. Sorry, Clay.
Ed, can you pull up the this as we're on a commercial break? Can you pull up the stats
The game,
Yes, I absolutely can.
on the
Give me 1 second.
Gamecast?
That's a smart move to do it that way without accidentally
Yeah.
I don't know. What are do you have maybe are you starting to get some expectations for this season now, Aaron? I know we talked about at the beginning of the year that we don't have any, and now that we've seen them through 5 games.
Well, we had talked about it a couple weeks ago on BBP, and I was of the mindset that I would be happy if they got over 500. I'd be really happy if they hit like kind of that 17-18 mark, kind of where I expect them to be, and I think that they'd exceed all expectations if they won more than 20 games. I think things have been reevaluated to where at this point, I think I'd be disappointed if they won less than 20 games. And I say that only because we have, 16 games left, or I'm sorry, to get over 20. I mean, you need to win. If they win tonight, we'll need 15 to hit that 21. But you have 31-ish games in the season this year. We're already 5 games in, so you have to win 16 of the remaining 25 games, 26 games. I don't think that's unreasonable to expect out of this team at this point.
I mean, I think the guys on the broadcast last night, when they decided that there was also another team playing that wasn't Illinois, they made mention, and it was brought up that if UC is in fact, because they were preseason number 6, that if UC is the 6th best team in the AAC, then the AAC should be a 6-bid league, which I think is a compliment to how well this team has gelled and played this early on.
This quickly, correct. I mean, you have so many new pieces, and I think that's where Ken Palm struggled to try and properly rank this team because they had no idea. We had no idea as fans of this team. People who watch every game had no idea what the hell this team was going to be able to put on the court and how it was going to work.
I think they're up to 73 in Ken Palm now.
Locken's back on the court, Ed, as an update.
I did see that. I didn't see the tweets.
Mikey just threw that kid.
That was from Aaron's eyeballs, not Twitter or however it did a minute ago.
Twitter.
So you've got like I said, I think they bumped up to 73 in Ken Palm now, which obviously this is just going to be a
ongoing thing.
They're still figuring out who they are and what they've got. I mean, who is it? Hensley didn't even get in the game last night until I don't know, the last
until the walk-ons got in.
Yeah, which I mean,
he's in right now. He just made the last. He just got his first bucket.
I was gonna say that's what I just saw him, so I thought to myself, you know, he didn't even get in until the end of the game, and Wes brought that up in the post game presser, like, you know, I got Hensley, I didn't even get him in until the end of the game, and he's a guy that, you know, I'd like to probably get some more minutes to, but guys are going to make sacrifices. It's been brought up that Mikey Saunders is a guy that is probably going to get. I think Justin Williams asked him in the press conference about it, and you know, he said he's the sixth starter, for lack of a better. You know, they've got 2 starting point guards on this team.
Now, are you okay with him continuing to come off the bench, or are you somebody who would rather see him start?
I like him coming off the bench.
I agree, 1,000%.
It's that, you know, that's why, you know, I mentioned it earlier that I thought maybe he was coming in as the third hype man kind of thing. It's kind of a spark, you know, like if they, I don't know that we've really seen them start like super hot yet. And if that were to happen, and then they, you know, maybe they start slowing down, that you bring in, you know, you got Mikey available to hey, or I keep saying Mikey, and I think we were corrected last week, and you know, he's Mike now.
It's always gonna be Mikey Hart.
Until he cuts the hair, he's still Mikey to me.
That, you know, you can bring him in, and that's kind of a spark, but that goes up and down the bench. Really, we've mentioned it a lot, and I'm going to keep mentioning it. The fact that there is the ability to just swap guys in and out, plug and play, and oh man, that's what I'm talking about. Big time 3 there from Newman.
Well,
Sorry
he's been struggling to find his shot.
Yeah, but I feel like he creates a lot.
St. John.
He's able to create a lot for himself, and I think it'll get to the point maybe where he'll have a pop off game. You know what I mean?
It was only a matter of time until he found his shot. He's now hit 2 threes in this game, which I don't think he's had one of those. Merck, I need you to clarify what you mean that Davenport's pressing. I don't entirely understand what you're asking there. Once you throw that in the chat, we'll address it. Right now it is there's 33 seconds left. It's 28-26. Your Cincinnati Bearcats are up in a game that Arkansas was favored by 5 points. So the spread, Ed, is how many points that a team is favored by. If you cover the spread, that's how many points Vegas thinks a team is going to win by. So
that's easy. Yeah, I could have just said that last week.
I mean, it was honestly way more fun to kind of just drag this out as long as we have.
I would have known.
What was the spread on this? I didn't even see it.
It was 5.
Was it?
Arkansas was favored by 5. Yeah.
What was the spread yesterday?
I didn't honestly look.
9.5.
9.5. Illinois.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that sucked. Sorry, Vegas.
Just that old pro now.
Merck says that he feels like he's trying to create and gets him in trouble making bad passes and turnovers.
I think that just comes with how much energy he has. Sometimes I think the energy that Davenport has is it's not channeled and it's not under control. He just kind of flails. And I think that's just a matter of maturity. Honestly, I think that with this being his third season now, right? It'll come. But as of right now, I think that's just kind of where he is with just his energy is just trying to contain it and keep it properly channeled. But he's also a shooter and shoot. So like last night when he was not shooting well in the first half, if he hadn't continued to shoot, who knows what would have happened with that game, because he came on. I mean, he was on fire after about 10 minutes into the game.
Ooh, I don't know what's going on right now. I just looked up and
I flew into the crowd.
I saw that, and then I think Locken traveled after that.
Yeah, I was getting great. I was getting real grainy at that point. So
Well, according to the first half is over, and we're up by 4.
Okay.
Oh, I still got 7 seconds left on mine.
I don't think UC still hasn't trailed going into the second half all year.
Yeah, we're only down by 1 yesterday, right? We were up. Sorry, up by 3. We were up by 3. Yeah, by 3. I sent that tweet out. I forgot.
And the Barstool Illinois account took an absolute beating. Because I think at one point they tweeted out like 17-4. We're not worried about anything tonight. Like, and then it rapidly went downhill for them soon after.
So all right, let's talk about the game so far tonight. Who's standing out to you guys? Because I have a name in mind as somebody who stood out the last 2 games. But tell me who you feel is standing out tonight.
I mean, I like the way Newman's playing. I mean, obviously, you look at that. He's got 6 points. Was he 2 of 5 from 3, 2 of 4 from 3. He's playing some good hustle basketball up and down the court. I mean, they all are.
They hustle. Absolutely.
I love that. Like they kind of all complement each other. They're playing complementary basketball like Luke Fickle would like on the football field.
Well, and you bring up Newman, and Newman currently is leading the team in rebounds at 5.
He is, in fact.
Yeah.
And
he's just behind in points because Joyce is 7, Newman has 6, so he's just behind in points.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I'm talking about. You look up and down that little box score there, and you've got contributors everywhere.
Absolutely.
Saunders again off the bench, 4 points.
And it's beautiful to see, right? It's beautiful to see because in the past, and as much as I love Jaron Cumberland, or even last year, why am I going to think of his name wrong? Williams. We counted on those players.
Keith.
There was 2 or 3 players that Keith, thank you. There are 2 or 3 players that we would just count on. Okay, they have to carry the team. And again, going back to your hockey lineup analogy, this is great. It's great having the depth and that we could just sub in 5 guys, and I love it.
The guy that I was going to say that stood out to me has been over the last 2 games has been Abdullah Adu.
Okay.
And
yeah,
I while it's not showing up on the stat sheet tonight, I feel like he's just been a presence disrupting people down low tonight. And last night, while he didn't fare well against Kofi Cockburn,
Thank you.
1-on-1, he was still the guy that they counted on to be down there, still being the body on him for most of the game until they would bring in the additional pressure from, whoever was playing 4, and a lot of times even throwing either the 3 at that point in time or another guard in there, kind of getting a hand on the ball when he was trying to go down low to make a move to the hoop. But I just, especially with some of the people who were kind of knocking on Abdullah Adu earlier in the season, as they were talking about how he just kind of looked slow and sluggish. And I feel like people were trying to draw comparisons to Chris Vogt without saying it. I don't think that's the case. So I'm very happy with the production we've seen out of Abdullah Adu, especially over the course of the last 2 games.
He's progressing upwards, and that's what we want to see.
Trending.
Trending.
Trending up.
He's trending upwards. The line is going up. It's not going down. It's not going like that.
It's plateau or down.
Weeks to
are you using ESPN Plus here for this little box score thing? What is this?
No. This is statbroadcast or stat broadcast. I go to the schedule on GoBearcats.com, and they always have a live stats button. This one's different from the one they usually have.
This is kind of nice though,
because you can see over here we've got 8 bench points. I know that Arkansas also has 8 bench points, but we've got 14 points in the paint. We'd love to see that.
Well, it looks like it's part of
break points.
The second chance points.
I'm
nice.
digging that's why I didn't know what this little deal here was, but it's. Can you click over to Arkansas to see what they've got going on in their specialty stats. Ooh, 16 points, 16 in the paint. Also 4 fast break points. I mean, it's been a pretty evenly sloppy game so far.
I would have thought they had more second chance points because they were getting quite a few offensive rebounds there throughout the first half. And
Justin Williams did tweet about the 3 second chance points on Twitter.
Thanks. We were also assessing that.
I was just letting you know that he said it on Twitter.
Thanks for saying Twitter the regular way.
Twitter. No?
No.
So real quick, while it is halftime and while we have a chance to kind of switch gears a little bit here, the Cincinnati Bengals went to Vegas this weekend and they beat the Las Vegas Raiders on what inexcusably, in my opinion,
It was a terrible field.
Is a shit field.
It was ridiculous.
Well, let's dissect this for a minute. Las Vegas is known for having water supply issues in general. Why in the holy hell would you think it was a great idea to put a grass field for men to play on in this sport of the NFL? And I assume that they probably aren't using it solely for the NFL because no arena is using it solely for the home team that plays there.
Does UNLV play there?
UNLV plays there, but they play on a turf field.
That's what I was
like a field turf.
Earlier.
Do they roll it out on top of it?
No, so they have. Are you familiar with like Arizona's setup at their stadium? So they have like a tray basically that goes outside with the sod and the natural grass field.
Okay.
To grow in the sun.
Unbelievable.
And then they slide it in to play the games on.
That's absurd.
UNLV apparently has a artificial turf field that they play their games on.
Well, it sounds like it was a fantastical waste of money because this grass is not doing well. And it was a horrible field to play on by all accounts. But Cincinnati went in there and...
We're here for the makers, the snowflakers.
Whoa.
That's on me. I was trying to find a video of the field sliding for you.
I mean, it's just like a big tray that slides in and out.
But in any case, Cincinnati went and took care of business.
And in a game where Joe Burrow didn't do anything spectacular. Didn't need to.
Didn't have to because Joe Mixon had himself a day.
And probably could have had a better day if he could make a cut without the field disappearing underneath his feet.
He did get eaten up by the turf monster. Oh, is this the video of the this is at least Arizona's field?
Yeah, Arizona's field.
They say that it takes 90 minutes for the Allegiant field to roll in and out.
That's crazy.
How crazy is that? That it just slides right in from the outside.
Absolutely crazy.
This is the world that we live in.
And then they have to build the stands up.
Yeah.
How do they keep gophers from getting in it? Or moles?
That's
Gophers?
I have a mole problem right now in the backyard. So
they're in a desert, Ed. A desert.
They just rolled an entire football field into a stadium, and Ed's worried about moles.
I don't think they're having mole and gopher issues in a desert. The mole and gopher population is not thriving in the desert of Arizona or Las Vegas.
I am having mole issues.
Good luck. So
it's too bad, Ed. It's too bad.
So the defense played really well, and they continue to show out. Awuzie had himself a game. He continues to do the same thing.
Eli Apple,
like as much as people shit on that move when the Bengals signed him, he's been more than serviceable. I don't know that he is a first round. Go ahead.
PFF ranked him. PFF ranked him. I think he was one of their higher rated players on the day.
While I don't believe that he has earned his first round pedigree over the course of his career, he has been very good in the role that he has been filling in for this season, as Cincinnati signed him not expecting him to be a spot starter, and he's done fairly well in that, that number 2 cornerback position.
I mean, I feel like I don't like to, I think it was a must win game. I mean, you had the Browns, who looked like they were maybe on the ropes, and they squeak out a win. Then you got the Ravens played the Bears without Lamar Jackson, and they lose Justin Fields to an injury. Andy Dalton comes in and does his best to put them back on top, and their defense failed them. And then the Ravens eke out a win. And so what could have been another week of every team in the AFC North, losing or tying or whatever, and the Bengals benefiting going forward, Ed Merck tells you to get a dog to take care of your moles.
I have a dog.
It's just not old enough yet.
It ended up being kind of a must-win game.
No, I have a dog, and he's digging holes in the backyard. That's why I got to get rid of these moles.
Unbelievable that you're still eating. Yeah, I mean, I would agree that it was kind of a must win, because Cincinnati's out here trying to prove themselves as a team that can hang in the playoff conversation. I don't think this team is built for a championship. But at the same time, there were a lot of people who did not think that they were going to win 6 games the whole season. And here we are 10 games in, and Cincinnati sitting above 500 at 6-4. I think they've already exceeded a lot of people's expectations.
And they've got 5 of 7 games. I mean, I know they've got a difficult schedule remaining. I think it's the 5th most difficult schedule of any team left. We saw how that turned out for the Reds, having one of the weakest schedules remaining at the end of there. So could go either way, but 5 of those 7 games left are at home.
And I know we brought up Joe Mixon, but still, man, 30 carries, 123 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had a day. And I think a lot of that comes from the fact, and Tomlin actually talked about it today in his press conference, because we do have the Pittsburgh Steelers coming up next again.
Boo.
But he was talking about the fact that Jamar Chase didn't have a great day, as he finished with 3 catches, 32 yards, 1 touchdown. But Tomlin recognized the fact that because you put a lot of protection on Jamar Chase, that opened up the day for Joe Mixon. And that's why he had the day that he had. And I know that, again, we talk about people who get shit on constantly. Zach Taylor recognized the defense that was gearing towards Jamar Chase and fed Joe Mixon. So hats off to him.
Well, I mean, it was one of those days where, it kind of started with the fact, Burrow wasn't having, the greatest of days. I think it ended up being one of, like, if I read some of my things correctly going into this, that he had one of his lower ratings.
92.3.
Okay.
Or are you talking about PFF?
I think it was PFF.
I was going QBR, sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Whatever RTG is, that was 92.3. His QBR was 53.9. That was terrible.
Yeah. So it was one of his lower rated games. And you know what? Mixon picked him up, like you said. So they did what they needed to do. They went out there, they get a win, they get a turnaround and come back home and play the Steelers at home, and hopefully continue on their winning ways. They've got weapons. I think they're ahead of the schedule everybody kind of put in their own minds at the beginning of the year.
Is Ben expected to play? Do we know yet?
I think that they're gonna duct tape him back together and push him out there.
Well, he played this weekend, and I didn't see the game, but Pat McAfee was talking about how he looked really good. I guess that week off, but
I was gonna say he didn't practice for a week, so maybe that's what he's got to do to keep his body ready to go. I know there's a couple guys on that Bengals defensive line that are probably gonna make it a little more difficult for him.
Well, and here's what I'm worried about. There was a play. Who did the Steelers play this weekend?
That escapes me.
Whoever they were playing.
Right at this.
There was a play where one of the Steelers linemen basically punched
Chargers.
Punched
Did they play the Chargers?
Was it Yeah, it was Chargers. Basically punched the dude in the stomach when he had him down on the ground. So, I mean, if they're already starting that stuff, they're going to try to trigger the Bengals.
Well,
Hopefully,
what do you mean starting? They never stopped.
When we played in Pittsburgh, the Bengals did very well to just brush that. They brushed it off. Somebody tweeted out the video when that Steelers coach grabbed Reggie Nelson's hair and his arm and tugged on his hair, and they brought up that in the first game this year. You could see there were like little moments where it looked like the Steelers were trying to pick at the Bengals and get them to get a reaction out of them, and it didn't work. And the Bengals flat beat them.
Pick the scab.
So
try and reopen
now they're coming to the jungle, and we're gonna have guys like Bengals captain and the Bengalorian and Tony the Tiger.
What a story that's been.
That guy's getting a lot of play lately. Good for him.
Oh, hey, the dude is a fan, and some idiot from Browns country decides of all fan bases to try and make fun of another fan base. Really? Really?
Do you think Ocho will be at the game? Because he was at the game this weekend.
Well, let's think about this, Ed. You can either go to Cincinnati.
Wow, that's a good point. Or you can go to Vegas.
Or Vegas.
Well, because Joe Torre was there too, wasn't he?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Chad has like a timeshare or some type of free stay from throwing money around in Vegas that he can stay out there. But
he probably does, if we're going to be honest.
All right, so the Bengals have the Steelers, though, after a 32-13 win against the Raiders. And like I said, hats off to Zach Taylor for putting together a game plan that worked.
Yeah, no, but I'm happy with where the Bengals are and where they look like they're headed. And if they can get into the playoffs this year, I think that'll be even better for them moving forward. Experience.
But the Bearcats are back in action in the second half, I do believe, correct?
Yep,
that is correct.
18:51 left. They are still up 30-28. That dude is like Sean Bradley-esque. If you remember Sean Bradley, the center for the Dallas Mavericks, and I want to say he was with the 76ers as well back in the day. I think he was like 7'6". This guy's like 7'4". Just long centers. Long white centers.
He was 7'6".
Sean Bradley, yeah.
Yes, averaged 8 points, 6 rebounds. 12-season NBA career.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Oh, good block. See, I told you guys. Adu
has been, I think he's starting to get comfortable in the system.
I liked what he had to say after a couple games ago, where he came from Mississippi State and talked about the fact that the fans get up for these games, and he's not used to, even at a school. Mississippi State's not it's an SEC school.
Yeah.
And he said that they don't get up for basketball like Cincinnati does. And he was kind of loving it. So just interesting to hear, especially with the transfer portal, some guys that come in and that was a big shot. But just interesting to hear some perspective from some guys coming in from some quote bigger conferences. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean he did just refer to them as his old school, but it was a very interesting comment to hear. Because you always hear about like, these places are where all these players want to go. This is where they want to play at. They want to play at in these big conferences because it's only a couple of those schools that seem to have, these rabid fan bases that are out there. And when you take a guy out of, there and bring them to UC and show them, I mean, even Wes Miller made comments about it. And I know, okay, you can look at it and say like, well, he's the coach there. He's going to say stuff like that.
Well, did you listen to Chad's podcast with was Marcus Ginyard?
No, I missed that.
Yeah,
Marcus Ginyard was saying kind of the same thing, that they were impressed. Both he and Tyler Hansborough were impressed just by what they saw on that Saturday night against Georgia.
He praised the university and the fans like big time on that podcast.
Yep.
And, I mean, he comes from a big time school. He knows a little something about fans being there.
Very true.
I wonder how they're going to feel about their first crosstown shootout here in Cincinnati. Like if they're hyped about just the first 4 games of the season, how their first crosstown is going to be. They're going to.
Well, for Wes, I would think that he's going to immediately draw comparisons to the Duke North Carolina rivalry. Look at that face. That's a Justin Jackson mean face.
Yes, it was
right there on Coach.
And if you look as the camera panned over there, 3 dudes waiting to come into the game on the sideline there. Who's sitting over there? It looks like Mike, maybe Victor, and Odie.
I'm behind.
Yeah. So
does anybody else? I've been looking at the game as 4 quarters this year. Like I've been looking every 10 minutes as a quarter. Is anybody else doing that this year? Like, because I'm just noticing waves that we're going through.
I mean, it just
no.
I don't look at it that way. I actually did watch a little bit of the South Carolina UConn women's game, and I always forget that it's quarters in women's basketball.
I kind of wish I could hear the commentary on that replay of the Justin Jackson mean face on Coach Wes Miller.
I'm not certain. I mean, it was after a big shot by. Whoop.
Oh, come on! That's not.
Oh, what is that?
The Julius is telling him too. Like, that's a LeBron flop right there.
Come on. I feel like so far this year, like there's been whatever. What do they call like these like points of emphasis?
Yeah.
Like. I feel like there's been a lot of like things that are kind of ticky-tack. I know we don't like the taunting. We don't like the taunting at any level of any sport. That's silly. But I feel like some of these fouls, like, and I mean, obviously, like sometimes it helps UC, sometimes it's against UC. But I feel like there's a lot of like silly kind of ticky-tack fouls that get called.
I mean, it's kind of like we were talking about earlier with the technical fouls. Haven't loved that.
No.
Oh, look at throwback Wes Miller picture.
I can't do this. How are you guys so far ahead of me?
I don't know, because I'm watching it on the stream on my computer, so.
Same.
I'm watching on Hulu.
No, that's probably your problem.
I logged into my Spectrum account, and it's still faster than you.
Oh, there is a throwback. So I'm actually thinking about switching from Hulu. They just raised their prices again.
Well, I mean, YouTube TV did as well.
Well,
that's what I've got.
They're throwing in Disney Plus and ESPN Plus now with this new rate hike.
Hulu is?
Yep.
Ooh, the big man. Oh, Sam Martin getting pumped on the sideline.
I love it. Love it. Love it. So currently it's 15 and 45, we'll say 38-35. Cincinnati's up after the 3 by Koval.
Oh, you
38-34 on the Gamecast too.
Looked like a clean block by Odie there. I haven't seen the replay, but
we don't need to see it. Replay. It was clean block. I'm calling that from right here. I should be an official.
I don't feel like I've seen the same energy tonight that we saw last night. Yeah, I feel like it's been a bit more of a I don't want to say rock fight yet because I don't think it's quite that. But it's it's been sloppy.
Fight.
But I think I think it's been sloppy both ways.
Correct.
And I think you kind of get that when, I mean, even in what the NCAA tournament, they don't play games on back-to-back nights.
That's the point.
Right.
So you've got a team that we've talked about. Has started. I mean, I guess Wes has even made mention that he hasn't even implemented like a good majority of the things that he wants to put in on offense, on defense. I mean, across the board. And then,
though, they do play back to back during the conference tournament. So
okay, but at the end of the year, I mean, I don't know how often do we have games that are on back to back nights.
That's the
conference
list.
tournament.
That's the list.
Yeah, right. So you've got that, and you got to kind of look at it. You got this team that's still, I mean, regardless of the success that they've had so far, which has been fantastic. I don't think we could have, honestly. I mean, obviously, you can't ask for a better start than being undefeated thus far. But
only
you play.
Not supposed to go in America.
You play all your games at home against teams. Okay, so you had Georgia at home. Mm-hmm. The other teams you're kind of expected to beat, at least by the lines and whatnot. So then you move on. You go on the road. You get the number 14 team in the country last night, and you have however you want to cut it, that's a big emotional win for a team like this. And then the very next night you have the number 13 team in the country, right?
And still in the second half. I mean, we're a couple minutes into the second half, and you have an opportunity still to take out these, two well-ranked teams. So let's talk about that for a minute. As they're finishing up this time out here, and I don't want to bore the listeners too much with a game that they've potentially already watched at this point. But let's say Cincinnati is able to close out this game, and there's a lot of echo there. And then wins they won last night, obviously. Cincinnati's got to be in the top 25 after that, right?
Ooh, man, we're already talking about that, huh?
Well, that's what I was saying is
you take out the 14 and the 13 team in the country.
You got a solid point. You got a very solid point.
And you're undefeated.
If they win, if they win tonight, I don't think there's any way that they're not moved up.
I mean, even
into the top 25,
even if you put them in number 25, at the very least, they're getting votes, right? They have to get votes.
They haven't gotten votes yet. I think that I think regardless, like even if this game ends up, if they end up losing and it's a tight game, I think they still start getting some votes. But
because they're hanging with teams that they shouldn't be hanging with by all counts. Like nobody, we didn't expect this.
Well, and then not just the talk of going into the top 25.
They called charge on that.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm behind. We can also
trash
on the BCJ boards today, and just in UNC Twitter. There's already calls for is Coach Wes Miller going to leave for UNC because their coach is not starting off very well. So we got that.
You know what though? They had a chance, and obviously, like I'm not in Wes Miller's head at all. But if it's me, and
I'd be a little jaded.
You had an opening, right? You could have hired me.
I mean,
if the guy that you picked over me, you picked someone over me. If he doesn't turn out to be the guy, and now all of a sudden you want to come back, and you're clearly I wasn't your first choice. Nah, I'm sticking with the team that brought me in and wanted me as their guy.
Well, and somebody said on the BCJ boards, and I don't remember this at all. Maybe I was too young.
Did Arkansas just get teed up?
I don't know.
I don't know what happened.
But somebody brought up that West Virginia wanted Bob Huggins early and wanted him back, or wanted him early in his career here at UC, and he did not go. He stayed here to build a title contender here at UC. So I could see Coach doing the same thing, just staying here. Like, you didn't want me the first time, like you guys said. So let me show you what I can do.
Good board. Good put back, Odie.
No, I would. Whoa! I would be here for that. I am here for that. I mean, I think obviously Wes is doing some good things, with some great things so far with kind of a piecemeal put together team of guys that, you know, some guys that were refusing to leave a bad situation, that were just sticking around, and then some other guys that decided, hey, we're gonna come in and help do this.
And he's under contract until 2027. Like, that's
But
nothing.
that doesn't mean UNC can't buy out that contract
I
for him.
understand, but I mean, that's still quite a buyout at the same time.
On top of that, UC just launched into the public the $100 million Keep Luke Fickle Wes Miller Fund.
Exactly. Day one ready or whatever it's called. Yeah.
Day one ready. I think they said they've already raised like 24 million in the silent phase of this this drive, which we all know this is to put the indoor practice facility together, along with boosting other athletic endeavors.
Who do you think is in that silent 24? Because we've talked about it before, right? We talked about like who can step up and pay these players, like happened in Memphis. Who do you think's in the silent 24? Is it just like Weiler?
Well, I don't want to drop any names or relationships that Jeff might have, but Jeff has a little bit of inside track to some of this. So, what do you know on the inside that you feel comfortable enough to talk about in regards to that?
So when I saw that come out today, I have put out some questions. I haven't received any answers back yet,
okay,
as to where that is. But whenever I do get some info on that, I will share what I'm allowed to share.
So the fifth third,
it could end up being nothing because it was part of the silent end of things, and they might want to, put plaques and names on buildings and stuff whenever it happens.
I do want to point out that a fellow podcaster has entered the chat.
Nick Kirby's only here for Clay. Clay doesn't talk about anything but Reds.
Clay's over in a Michigan State podcast right now.
We'll have Clay back on when there are Reds things to talk about, but currently we're letting you guys handle the off season because right now there's not a whole lot to talk Reds, and as a podcast that covers Cincinnati as a whole, we're live reacting the Bearcats game currently.
So the Fifth Third Arena name, Fifth Third they're not losing. I guess they're not renewing the naming of the arena. This year or next year? Do you guys know?
No,
I heard it soon, and I've heard that a local insurance company here in the state of Cincinnati is interested in that one, and it's not mine.
Do they have a building? Do they have a building with a tiara?
No, I don't think so.
Huh.
That's interesting.
That would be weird though. They already have a baseball field.
I think it'd be cool if Jake from State Farm was courtside.
Jake from State Farm Arena.
The khakis arena.
That's a prerequisite before you can get into the game. You have to. Ooh, how about that word, prerequisite? And I used it correctly. Before you get into the game, you have to wear khakis with your jersey.
This I think you could start to classify as a rock fight, Aaron.
I think we're there. I didn't want to use that word, but yeah, I think we're there.
What's a rock fight compared to a dog fight?
Sloppy, defensive, where it's not going to be a high-scoring game.
That's solid. Okay.
I don't know. I mean, whatever team hits 60 first, I think might be the team that wins.
Here it goes. Have you guys ever used Hotels.com?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so have I.
Okay. Did you have a good experience, Ed?
I think it was.
You're trying to give them a shout out.
I mean, if they want to sponsor the pod, I'm here for it.
I mean, I'd be here for that.
I like Hotwire better.
Hotwire.
I use Travelocity.
This team is so much fun to watch.
Do you think we need a timeout here soon?
No.
No,
I think you keep running. Wear them down. They only run a rotation. I think last night they only ran a rotation of 9. So you're running with one extra guy if you're Cincinnati.
Newman.
Although we've seen Hensley play, so maybe you're playing with 2 extra guys tonight.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is like so it's getting down here getting close to 10 minutes to
Getting
go.
close. I think we're about at 12 and we're up 2 right now.
And,
I think it's 45-43, I believe.
I mean I think part of last night that helped affect the I mean I don't want to say that they quit on it or anything, but that helped demoralize Illinois was the fact that at this point in the game UC had come back from being down big, had started to go up big, and Ed left. See ya, Ed.
I was just about to give him his minute of AEW since we're on a commercial break.
Oh no, I don't know what's happening. I think he might have done it on purpose because he's not gone. He's like in the.
He went to the background.
Yeah, he's taking a break. But I think that was kind of like what exacerbated the fact that Illinois just couldn't get back in the game was that, and we've talked about it ad nauseum at this point, that UC just rotates guys in.
Fresh legs, man.
They keep the pressure on, and at some point you're either going to be in good enough shape to keep up, or you're not. And towards the end of the game, you could see not only were they demoralized from the fact that they had lost a big lead and UC was going up, but they just couldn't hang.
Yeah. It's crazy because like when you do a full reset like this, when you have five returning scholarship players, not counting Banksy who came in
so 4
on a late scholarship. I think it was 6. If we're counting Banksy.
No, I don't. I think.
Well, let's count them. I mean, you had Davenport, Mike.
Well, I didn't count. I guess you can count Mike because he was in the
transfer portal.
He was in the portal, like he was going to be.
You could say the same for Mason, but I'm saying guys you had last year.
Well, I didn't count him either in that group just because they were for all intents and purposes leaving,
sure.
Right?
But
they were gone. If Wes doesn't come here and make it a priority to go talk to them, because he did.
The point I'm making is guys that didn't know each other.
Okay.
Coming into the season.
All right.
Had not played together. So you're putting together this island of misfit toys, if you will.
Yeah.
And so we may have had 7 guys if we're counting Sam Martin and Banksy as guys on the team. But you had Davenport, you had Mike, you had Mace, you had who am I missing here? That can't be it.
No. Saunders.
Yeah.
Madsen.
Yep.
Davenport.
Yep.
Mike Adams Woods.
DeJulius and Mike Adams Woods. There's
Banks
the other 2.
And Sam Martin. So 7 guys that had played together.
And you put together this team just kind of patching together what you could in the transfer portal. No one knew what to expect with any of this.
No,
man, that was a nasty
deep
3.
Yeah, it was a deep 3. No,
Arkansas is up 1, entering the 11-minute mark.
I mean, that's. Oh, you can't do that. That might have been a little bit of that extra energy. No, I mean, we've talked about it from the beginning of the year. You've got a team of guys that are kind of still learning each other and figuring each other out, and we weren't sure what we were going to get. So far, it's all been coming up roses. I don't know. I think you still expect, or I mean, you can't. That there's going to be a game or 2 here and there where things aren't going to click, things aren't going to roll back around the way they kind of did last night. We might want to, depending on what happens here, we might want to.
They're going on a run here. Arkansas is.
You can't call that. That's such a bogus. I thought they got rid of that nonsense where you jump forward into people.
They did in the NBA.
Yeah, they got rid of it. I thought the same thing because I think Mikey Saunders did it like the second game of the season.
It's like the James Harden rule.
You mean the LeBron James rule?
Didn't Steph Curry do a lot of that? Jumping forward into people?
Yep.
Oh no!
So
it looks like they're woo pig suey or whatever that nonsense is. I don't have volume on it, so like I can't hear. But
I'm actually ecstatic I don't have volume on right now.
Look like there were a bunch of grown men. I mean that's like the woo at Reds games, which is awful. You woo, you should be ejected.
I thought Clay loved woo.
I don't care who loves the woo.
I love the woo at the Reds games.
No, you don't.
It doesn't bother me.
Zombie Thanos said it was the D Wade rule.
There you go, Mikey. Mike Wazowski.
I'll take it.
I'm not using that one.
Didn't want it to be didn't want it to get out of hand. Down 4, we can handle that. Another another possession that went empty. Didn't want that. All right, Cincinnati's ball. We'll take it.
I hate that. We're behind.
I mean, just
Ed. So where are your expectations right now? I know Jeff and I talked about ours, but I don't know that you chimed in on that conversation
You're talking about expectations on UC basketball
for the season, correct?
I'm trying not to get too high of expectations after yesterday's game because I think we still kind of trying to find ourselves just a little bit. I mean, it's a nice run that we're on.
Good take, DDJ.
I don't know. Maybe we sneak in. We still got to do conference play. I want to see how we would play against Memphis. Obviously we're just playing the number 13 team right here and number 14 last night, but I still want to see how we do against Memphis. Not too scared about Houston unless they start figuring out who they are. We're 5 games into the season, but
where are Memphis and Houston ranked right now? Do you know?
In the AAC?
No. In the country. They're both in the top 25.
Are they?
They were.
Oh yeah. You got Memphis is 9, Houston is 12.
I think they were 12 and 15 last week, so they both moved up.
So, but I think
good pass. Another reverse. Another beautiful reverse by Locken. I love it. That's 3 games in a row, and that ties it up 51s.
I think what you're seeing here, right, is that last night wasn't really a fluke,
an anomaly.
That this is a team that can, they play good basketball.
They can hang.
And if they get to the point where, that was nice.
Cincinnati has the lead. They did stop. They were down what, 4 or 6? Did it get to 6? I can't recall.
They were down 6. Yes, they were down 51-45.
Is Rock Hard Vic is in.
I don't like that name.
No.
I was trying to remember what it was all day. And I just even when I said it, I didn't like it.
I'm not good with that. I don't like that leader in the clubhouse.
I mean, I'm here for Big Thick energy because I think that's fantastic. But I don't think we need to take every guy's name that rhymes with dick and make it a dick joke.
I agree.
But we're dudes.
I agree.
Especially when you have a last name like Locken. Like, it's too easy.
Oh,
just Mikey's everywhere.
Ooh, yes.
Mikey Saunders is Bryce's favorite player right now.
What a pretty teardrop that was.
There's a lot of people that are starting to like come out and claim that they were like Mike Saunders truthers from the beginning.
So we went to Skyline for Parker's birthday last Tuesday, and the
Ooh,
Skyline
an
Chili
interesting
basketball.
no call there.
The Crosstown
Take it.
Shootout basketball was on sale. So I bought it.
What the
Parker-
shot? First
Parker
shot
and
and second
Bryce.
shot. Go ahead, Dad. Sorry.
I bought it for Parker and Bryce. And Bryce Bryce could dribble that ball a little bit. He was switching hands too.
What? You can't.
That's not an over the back just because he's taller.
Oh.
When the NBA is.
That's not an over the back just because he's taller.
Like, just because he jumps over you and snatches the ball out of the air doesn't mean that it is an over the back.
I'm not even sure he touched him. He's
Ugh.
got his vertical where his hands are versus where your hands are is about a foot and a half
person.
difference.
That's a person. No, that's a full person. It's like a small child.
Like Webster.
Yeah, like a small child. I don't know. That was kind of a. Or I guess we're at the media
I just saw
timeout.
it. You're right. That was not an over the back call.
We're what at the under 8 media timeout? Is that what we're here?
Somewhere like that.
How much time is
We're
left
gonna
there?
do,
What's left on the Gamecast? There's
7:10.
So yeah, the under 8 minutes.
56-53 you see right now. And I think Arkansas is getting the ball off of a nonsense over the back because
Had to call the timeout.
ugh, it's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, we're at three fouls apiece right now in the half. So, although Arkansas is in the double bonus.
And I guess we'll see what kind of energy they can bring for the last 7
All right.
minutes.
Ed, it is the we're in an official TV timeout, so this seems as good a time as any. I hope you have your AEW notes ready, because last time I was ready to do this, you mysteriously disappeared from the video. I'm going to assume that you had to use your little tiny pee-pee bladder, but
I'm gonna knock you out. I had to pee. Yes.
Hold on.
which you did as well before we started recording.
Well, I did. Yes, but I also had a full beer.
Like I said, little tiny pee-pee bladder.
Well, why are we spotlighting me here?
Oh, Ed's getting the full solo layout for the 60 seconds of Ed's AEW
Ooh.
review.
All right.
Hold on. Let me pull up my saved stuff on. How come I can't find saved on Facebook?
I don't know, but you better.
We're wasting TV timeout time.
Oh, found it.
Okay, here
All
we
right.
go, Ed. Are you ready?
And now the game's coming back. We're going to have to wait till the next timeout now.
Oh,
I
good.
think
It wasn't what I was looking for.
okay. All right.
Get it ready, man. Be
Get it
better,
right.
Ed.
Get it tight.
Be better.
Be excited.
Unbelievable.
Where did I see that?
Ed's now confused himself. I know that happens on.
I like
About
how he's now typing it up because he can't read his own handwriting, which we all saw when he posted.
No.
his
I'm not
notes.
typing. I'm not typing anything. I'm looking for something that Jeff sent me last night.
Oh, that's not AEW related. That's not permissible.
No, we're not allowed.
This
No.
is AEW talk.
All right then.
Although, I don't know. Is Jack Rollins still on the AEW roster, or is he WWE at this point? Since WWE,
Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins.
whatever.
Dude said he did it for his family.
That doesn't even make sense.
Doesn't make any sense at all.
I mean, it was a decent spear. I hate that you're making me talk about this. I just thought that was funny.
Apparently, he used to talk to Seth Rollins on Twitter or Facebook, and then he stopped talking to him, and so now he's
I don't
like,
know. I don't want any more wrestling talk.
I'm here for it though.
56-54, under 7 left, and Cincinnati, big steal.
Oh,
Is that a foul? DDJ should be headed to the line. Love it.
no. Just give us the 2.
Well, I mean, I think with DDJ at the line, they've been fairly automatic.
Oh, great.
Anyway,
No, I don't want any like no hitter jinx coming out or something silly.
Arkansas has 0 fast break points this half.
I like seeing Mikey on the bench though, and not even like out of breath. He's just looks cool, calm, collected.
He's ready right now to come back in.
I know, right?
Like,
That's why he's the first guy on the bench.
So we bought Parker a new water bottle because his old water bottle broke, and he had an indoor game on Sunday morning. And Michelle goes, "Man, he looks like he is tired out there today. What is going on?" He comes back over after the game. He couldn't figure out how to open it. There's like a little latch on it or something like that. So he didn't have any water the whole game. So he's just out there panting. It was funny.
man.
Huh. 6.5 left. Cincinnati's up 58-54.
Arkansas at the line.
Foul called on some. Nah.
I don't know.
Looked like it was on Caval, I think.
I just feel like there hasn't been a lot of consistency on the foul calling,
I mean, that's
especially down in the paint.
what we haven't talked about right now throughout this podcast is the fact that Musselman is on Arkansas's sideline. Does Musselman mean anything to either of you?
No,
Is
is
his
this
first
somebody
name? Is his first name Eric?
our show?
I believe it is Eric.
I don't know. He probably had some NCAA violations or something. That's why Aaron's
No,
talking about
he
this.
was the coach who coached Nevada.
Oh God.
For the 22-point lead.
That's correct. That's correct.
Why do you bring up? Who
Somebody
hurt you?
brought it up last night on Twitter, and I told them to delete it right away because I
hurt you,
almost
Aaron?
tweeted about it. I was like, no, we're not doing that. That's not who we are.
This is potentially a revenge game.
You got a good point.
Ooh, I like that.
Especially against a team that's ranked currently.
a revenge game. Yeah, take it, Musselman.
I don't like the way you just said that.
I know. I didn't like it either after I said it.
We're gonna clip that out later. I'm gonna leave it in the show, but we're gonna clip it out later so we can use it in the show.
We're also about to hit the 2-hour mark, and for those of you who are still here with us through 2 hours of this nonsense, we appreciate it. But I can't imagine
to the last 5 minutes. We've been giving some pretty good content that you can still listen to.
There can't be anybody left in the YouTubes, right?
There's 4 people.
All right, we're higher than we were about an hour ago.
Yeah, I mean it's gone up and down.
You know, I did put out a tweet last night asking if Sauce Gardner could cover Mikey.
I saw that. The little poll you put out.
Yeah, I did put that out.
I was busy.
What did that end up at?
Dang gone it, Twitter. Why do you got to refresh?
All right, it is 5:23 left. Arkansas just took the lead, 61-60. UC took a timeout.
57% to 43% say yes. Sauce Gardner could cover Mikey Saunders 101.
Sauce is pretty long.
So Kobe was named a Jim Thorpe Award finalist today.
This was
Kobe Bryant as one of 3 people that is still up for the award for best defensive back in the country. Sauce was not. Do you take issue with that?
I think he's being punished because at least as far as like this award goes, because he's too good.
Well, and in all fairness, we don't know who else around the country is running into this. I don't know that there's anybody quite like Sauce, but I know there was a kid down in LSU who was supposed to be the best defensive back in the country. He's not up for the award.
Well, he's in the transfer portal.
That's the 3rd best defensive back.
Oh.
Hey, something I want to bring up real quick before we come back from commercial.
Can we finish this conversation?
Yep.
Or were you trying to transition?
No, I think that obviously like Kobe's been able to show a little bit more as he's getting a lot more of the targets.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he's getting a lot more chances to be him, right?
Mhm.
Obviously, he deserves to be there. And Sauce, you would think, would get the benefit of the doubt on the fact that they're just not looking that. I mean, literally, he is shutting down half the field.
That's why he's getting sacks, right? Like, because they're not even looking that way. And
Right.
so,
and he's like in the backfield, like, hey, excuse me. Like,
every now and then I'm going to blitz because you're not even looking over here.
Like, it's, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say, like, yeah, I take issue with it because they're recognizing the other side of the field, right?
Well, and we heard David Pollock tonight say when Luke Fickell was on the CFP ranking show tonight that Cincinnati might have the best 1-2 punch in the country with as far as cornerbacks go. And Luke took that opportunity to not brag about his cornerbacks, but to tout the entire secondary, all 5 of them.
Yeah.
Which I think at this point we all expect Luke to do.
Yeah, I mean, Luke
gets that opportunity.
Yeah, Luke's never gonna. I mean, he obviously he puts praise where it's due, but you know he likes to spread the wealth.
Yes, sir.
Which is something that you like to see.
So, Ed, what did you have that you were trying to mention?
Well, going into that timeout, it looked like the two benches were starting to get chippy with each other, talking back and forth. I think there was a little shoulder, I think one of the Bearcats ran into one of the Arkansas players, and they started chirping a little bit. So look for that coming out of the timeout. See how that plays out.
They're getting physical. Somehow no fouls were called on that last possession, which amazes me.
Somebody's bleeding or has a contact. Nope. Arkansas player looks like he has a bloody nose. So there you go, Aaron. It's getting physical, and now we've got...
I told you, getting physical. I mean, they went back and forth quite a bit there.
But
both teams,
and they appear to be handling this better than players in the NBA recently did. So that's good. I don't even know where he got. Maybe Locken got him right in the forehead.
Again, we talk about that. You gotta be able to channel that energy. So I think we love to watch these hype guys get going, but they gotta be able to bring it back in.
Well, I mean, they didn't. There was no foul there. It was just,
incidental.
He was just coming back down.
It was incidental. I mean, there was no malicious intent.
No,
there.
not at all.
Malicious.
Are they going to go back and like look at this?
I mean, they probably got to make sure it's not a flagrant.
They are looking at it.
So I was wondering about that last night, but it looks like I just saw a cart behind the Arizona's bench. Was it John Brandon who had different packs of bubblegum lined up on the scorer's table?
I think we commonly refer to him around these parts as he who shall not be named, but
JB
or the previous regime.
The previous regime.
But I noticed there was like 3 different bottles of boxed water behind Wes last night, but I think that's a sponsor of this tournament.
Nothing came of the official review, by the way.
Yes. Yeah, you got to call that. That's dangerous.
Yeah, it is.
Can't be doing that.
Ooh. Missed it. Something.
Number 11 took out Newman's legs.
Little man can't try and body under a guy going up for a rebound.
He like turned into a little turtle and then tried to like swipe out Newman's legs. You can't do that.
I like turtles.
Huh.
What, Ed?
Never seen that YouTube video?
I caught the reference, but I chose not to acknowledge it.
Oh, Newman. Gotta make that.
All right, so we're coming up on the 4-minute mark. Arkansas is up 61-60. And this game's intense, man.
Yeah,
I kind of wish we weren't recording right now so I could yell at the TV.
I mean,
That's all right. It's taken a lot. Like there's been a few times I've wanted to
hear the audio.
Whoa. Okay, I don't know what they. I'm
also super aggravated.
It's hard because I can't tell what they're calling. Like if they're calling like a foul one way, or if they're calling like a travel, or like what's going on.
Especially when they're panning to the guy with the bloody nose. So who knows what just happened? Commercial break. Ed, are you ready for AEW? 60 seconds of AEW.
Yes, I am.
All right.
Okay, here we go.
Let me get the timer up and ready.
You don't have to do that.
Yeah, you do.
And go.
All right, we're starting with the AEW Dynamite. MFJ came out and started making fun of the city that they were in, which I guess that's just a thing. He thinks that he deserves an AE title shot, but apparently he only wrestles 3 times a year, so he's a wuss. In response, CM Punk came out. The fans started shouting, "Holy shit!" and Punk just stood there and said nothing. MFJ tried to shake his hand, and Punk just turned around and left the ring. I guess we have a feud starting. So I switched over to Rampage after that. Billy Gunn versus Darby Allin. I'm torn on this one because I'm a fan of both of them. Is Darby Allin related to Sting? Because Sting always comes out. Where is the Road Dogg these days? Billy Gunn did the suck it sign. Love it. Darby sells good. Billy can still tell a story. Billy lost the match, but it was still a fun match. And then Adam Cole fought and lost because he's a bum. That's it.
Man, you still had like almost 10 seconds.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, you yes. And time.
I did it this week.
Look at that.
No, you didn't do enough.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm disappointed in you.
It's too much or not enough.
If we're going to be honest,
Try again next week, Ed. Thanks.
If we're going to be
goodbye. All right.
If we're going to be honest, I did have that guy rushing in on WWE last night as part of my notes, but Jeff made me take it out because it's not AEW. So that is
no. It wasn't just Jeff.
It came down from the big man.
It was collective. We agreed. We had a vote here live on the air.
Sure.
I wasn't a part of that vote.
No,
You're
were
not allowed to be.
You were a part of the vote. You were just outvoted. You're outvoted 2-1.
It's really difficult here. If you've got a differing opinion, you're on the outside looking in. Sorry.
Trust me, I know.
All right, Arkansas's up 62-60, shooting free throws right now.
63-60.
Just under. All right, there's the 63. Just under 4 minutes. Regardless, I'm of how this game ends, I'm not upset. Of course, I want them to win, but I there it is. We tied it up. I'm just impressed that they're hanging with top 15 teams.
I'm not even saying hanging with, because to me, hanging with says like that they shouldn't be, right?
We don't know if they should be or not.
They're competing, right?
Yeah.
Like this team's just fun. It's awesome. This is like at least now this is the 6th game they've played. They've given me enough enjoyment for the entire season.
Already.
At least, like, you know what I mean? Like from like kind of like you're thinking about it at the beginning, like we've talked about, and it's like for the people that are kind of just joining here.
Thanks, by the way, Tyler Martin, for the foul before the break. We were doing AEW talk, so I couldn't thank you, but appreciate you. Cheers.
So I mean, we keep talking about it, but it's this team that like just kind of didn't know what we had. I don't even know if we still kind of don't know what we have, other than we have a team that's fun to watch. Is like high, and they don't give up all the time. They're not afraid of anything. Go. They just they're out here playing good, hard basketball, disciplined, like pretty disciplined basketball, oh no. Oh,
people watching we're ahead of their streams. So we'll go ahead and take the box down for the last 3 minutes here. We can put the box back at the end.
For that.
Thanks, Mark. So it's Arkansas up 1 right now.
Nope, 66. Oh, sorry.
2.5 left. Should be interesting to see what happens though.
See, now I'm torn because I'm behind, but I have the box score over on my other screen.
Well,
you
then
guys
minimize it
between the two of them.
The box score was ahead of where I was at in the show, and we've been talking about scores and what have you. Anyway, throughout the game, and it hasn't been an issue until you put that box score up that we pulled up. We put that up at halftime, right?
Because I switched. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that box score, it was like way ahead. I mean, it was ahead of me. And I think I was ahead of all of you for the majority of this.
We are up 1 right now after the free throws by DeJulius. 67-66. Do we remember who scored 61st? Because I know I brought that up earlier. That whoever scored 60 was going to be the team. I think it was Arkansas.
Yeah, so I hope you're wrong.
Yes, it was Arkansas.
I also hope I was wrong.
I'm looking at the substitution log. I think it was Arkansas. I might be wrong.
Good rebound.
Play-by-play.
Maybe I meant 70 instead of 60.
No, Bearcats were at 63 first.
All right.
But the Bearcats got the 63. Who got the 61st?
Nope, you're right. I'm sorry.
Nope, I'm wrong.
Oh, you cannot.
That's horrible. You can't grab the ball sliding on the floor like that. That is.
But they called a foul on the Julius
after the fact. After it was already traveling.
Where was
Julius
the foul?
24 points tonight, guys.
Oh, they called the foul on DeJulius on the scramble for the ball? No, they called it on shooting foul, right?
No, because they've been in the double bonus.
We're in the bonus. You're right.
And he was the guy that was diving on the floor. You can't like. I guess they called it on the scramble to the ball. Maybe. I don't know.
Can't hear anything, so I don't know that I want this to be a regular thing by any stretch.
No.
No, me neither.
Because I missed the audio terribly, and I hope that people don't hate our entire podcast because this is new to us. So
you can hang up now.
Apologies for how this actually sounds as you're listening, but we did a
solid job through the first half. The second half, I think
we're running out of things to talk about because the game gets a little bit longer here in the second half, and
yeah, exactly.
Now there's a minute and a half left. Cincinnati's down 1. Gonna cover that spread though, from the looks of it.
I'm gonna start pulling stuff out of Ryan Castellanos' book.
Don't talk about feet.
Can I get some Taco Bell?
Is your mom bringing food?
Call my mom.
There's no way that what is for some reason like the broadcast is showing the I guess they're probably talking about maybe Illinois and Kansas State from earlier, it looks like. I don't know why.
I don't know, but whoever's tapping is a middle finger tapper, and that's a little odd to me every time.
No, he went back to the pointer finger there.
No, it was the other guy. The guy on the left is a middle finger tapper.
I'm not at that point in the game yet. Mikey just called a timeout.
Yeah, you're way behind. It's actually March Madness already, Ed. Sorry.
Jeez. I missed Christmas. I missed Thanksgiving.
Not in that order?
Not in that order. Could have been in that order. We don't know. Time Machine says so.
Right.
Ooh, what's this tools button do?
Oh, God.
He shuts down the whole podcast.
I can create a graphics card.
Ed, you're being asked questions in the chat. It has nothing to do with Gophers.
That was you don't call that?
We see if you were live on your stream. I don't understand.
I don't know. I don't know what he's asking either, which is why I just put the fish in your lap.
I don't understand, Mark. I don't understand.
Looked over the back to me, Jeff.
That was definitely over. That was more over the back there than Lockins.
By 10. Not looking good here in the last minute, boys. We got 10 seconds left on the shot clock. Cincinnati is down 1, 30 seconds in the game. Missed shot by Arkansas, but again, we cannot rebound. Got a foul. Don't love it. Don't love it. Had plenty of opportunities to rebound. Did not have the rebounding lineup in there, though.
Oh, man.
Got the offensive we got the offensive lineup in there, not the defensive lineup. Hulu can be late when you load and your stream could be delayed.
Oh, that could be it.
Oh yeah, you can hit the little. There's a little button that says live, like on the bottom of your.
Well, I can't get to that, or else I'm gonna get audio right now because I closed that out.
Oh.
All right.
So do you go down here and try and get a 3 to tie this right now?
I mean,
instead of going into like these.
It's 20 seconds left. You're down 3. I don't know. I don't know that we have a 3-point shooter that I love.
Are you serious?
They called that charge. He was in the circle. I don't like that call at all.
Whoa,
you're gonna call a charge?
Look, he jumps out there. Oh,
he was already in the air.
I hate that. Look at this.
Already in the air. I don't like that at all. Nope. Not here for it. I would have clotheslined somebody right there.
Dude, that is such a...
I would have clotheslined on the inbound. I'm just saying.
How do you call a charge on something like that?
Nah, he was outside of the circle.
I know he was.
He was already in the air, though.
He's already in the air, so you can... If somebody's already in the air, you can jump. I mean, I'm not like...
No, I agree with you. Oh, look, hey, did you see he did well, you guys did see, but never mind. Because I'm behind.
Did we see what? What was your point?
Man, that is just unfortunate.
You're right, Tyler Martin. We gave up tons of offensive rebounds, and it was not good. I won't ever say that I won't ever say. I don't think the refs took this game away from us, though.
But I will agree wholeheartedly that the offensive rebounding on like some key offensive rebounding points.
We gave up a lot of offensive rebounds tonight in a game that
and just didn't do very well to close out some shots.
I mean, why are we even shooting twos to Julius? Like, I don't even know what you're doing.
I think he was just trying to get in there and get a bucket.
I also don't know why Arkansas is so hyped, because you're number 13.
And
we're Cincinnati
by an unranked team, so let's not get that hype, Arkansas.
Well, I think though that they realize how good Cincinnati is. I don't know what's going on here.
What are we reviewing? What's happening?
Is there a taunting technical that they're going to call on that dude? Which would be what? Two shots and the ball?
It would just be hilarious is what it would be.
Oh no, they're going to It's so dumb.
Are they adding a second on the clock?
I don't know.
They're adding 1.2. They called a foul under the hoop. Like
Arkansas's at the line.
Yeah.
All right. The refs suck. You're right, Tyler Martin. The refs suck.
All right. I closed it out. I can't deal with it.
Did he not even shoot? He just threw the ball to the ref?
On the second one. I don't know if they counted that though. All right.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
Wendy says
We're at 2 hours and 20 minutes here. I really do appreciate all the people that have kind of stuck around. I hope you guys enjoyed like a little bit something different.
Something different. We did our best.
It was either this or record tomorrow night, and I don't think we wanted to record tomorrow night.
I'll be okay if we never see Musselman again.
Yeah,
it's fair.
That's a call from Vegas.
All right. Well,
hey, real quick, we are having a Black Friday sale on our PTP merch. If you go to our link in our Twitter bio, everything on Friday is going to be 25% off.
Ooh.
So there is that. I have a couple hoodies. Some of the stuff runs a little kind of weird in size, but mainly the 3/4 length T-shirt that I bought ran a little big.
That's good to know. 'Cause I buy that.
The hoodies fit well though. I generally buy extra large for the arm length, and that fit well. Outside of that though, this was another episode of Pardon the Punctuation. To Merck's point, yes, the spread was 5. They won by 6 on that bullshit foul at the end there. Had to get the call from Vegas in from the refs. Unbelievable. But Cincinnati can hang. They can hang with 14 and win. They can hang with 13 and lose at the end on some shitty charge call and then a ridiculous call from Vegas to make sure the spread was covered. Outside of that, though, it was another episode of Pardon the Punctuation. Don't forget to check out the video on YouTube if you didn't. We did our best to make it both visual and audio enhanced. Apologies for the audio audience if we were not able to convey what we were looking at on the screen. But again, this was something new for us, so we did our best. But for Jeff Howell and Ed Mayhall, I am Aaron Smith, and we're out.
Bye.